Hello, everybody.
Look at all these beautiful people. Raina.
Caleb.
Hi, Raina.
Hi, Larissa.
Oh, Kevin Bell. Look at
I
Kevin Bell.
recognize an
Dapper
apron.
AF. I'm glad that Kevin just. Oh my God. Is that an apron for. Do we have a merch store?
Do you guys want an apron, Caleb, Eden?
Oh, yes.
Oh yeah, I'll wear my apron.
Oh my
Noel
God.
Wynn. I don't know if Kevin Bell's into it, but he would look dapper AF with that apron and his hat.
You know what? I have. Oh my God.
I'm
Where's
just
all
glad
my
that
aprons go?
Kevin and I are like hat bros. So go Nux. Boom.
Chrome's got
Not
the space buns again.
Oh, it got a thumbs up. I'm happy. Chrome.
Good evening, friends.
Yes, hello.
Hey,
Verity.
Hey.
Yeah. Tiffany. Look at all these beautiful people. Magnificent. Magnificent. Yes. All right.
I wanted to I wanted to say something before I jump out.
Do it.
I'm going to do the art share on Twitter soon, since I unlocked my account and everybody stopped talking about NFTs.
Oh yeah,
Which
yeah, yeah. I remember that
just-
controversy.
Non-fungible tokens. I was trying to have a conversation with my husband about it, and he's like, "I don't think you understand what you're saying." And I said, "You're right. I don't even understand what I'm talking about." No, this is not going to be about the ducks, Elisa. Not today. But
My daughter wants a duck.
Okay.
Now it's about the ducks. Sorry, guys.
We talked about the ducks in character design class on Tuesday. And then I drew my life with ducks and
that
I
was the
posted it on
best
my
goddamn
Instagram.
drawing. I'm so sorry. I don't mean to swear, but it was the best drawing. I love that drawing so much. Please forgive me for my naughty language.
It's okay.
Alana is looking at me like, mm-mm.
I know.
Anna Velez,
We're getting
Alana's
disapproving.
like,
we're getting disapproving
cut
looks from people from your
Lisa
potty
Megs,
now.
Bolashade, Anna Velez. They're all looking at me with disapproval, and I deserve it.
Elisa, you wouldn't say that you love boxes and ducks if you were surrounded with the boxes and ducks.
All right. So Verity has a quick question. Verity, you want to go for it?
Yeah.
Regarding NFTs and ArtStation is still a good site to put like your portfolio up since they're doing the NFT stuff now.
Are you asking or are you saying that's?
Oh, I'm asking.
Did you ask about ArtStation? If ArtStation is still a good one?
Wait,
oh, I didn't know that problem was
I didn't
also
know that
happening with
either.
ArtStation. That's really disappointing.
Super disappointing. I know that Pringles were doing it. I knew that there were brands actually doing this sort of thing, and it's kind of disappointing. For those of you that don't know, it's sort of like
Here we go.
what? Yeah, non-fungible tokens. What if you could create a digital
Trading card
piece of artwork that you could then sell for a coupon, which you could then use to buy, illicit things. That's literally what it is. It's just, but the thing is that the coupon is only as good as the person who gives it to you says it is. You can buy illicit, yeah, absolutely. It's the problem is that none of this is regulated. So that's what non-fungible tokens means. It's not backed up by any currency, so it's hidden. It's literally imaginary. It'll happen. But yeah, it's right now. It's kind of like a fad, and people are sort of cashing in on it. But try just protect yourself if you can. It's super bad for the environment, Jace, because it's using a. Oh gosh, this is really.
Oh Jesus! Here we go into the thing. The processing of the mining of bitcoins.
It's called a blockchain, And the program that they use to that you use during these auctions that you use to sell your artwork means that there's a computer somewhere that is blazing away throughout the entire process. All right, and often many computers, because they're all working in tandem in order to work this auction, in order to get the highest bidder for your make believe non NFT.
So imagine computers everywhere, just running.
Constantly. And by the time
computers.
your auction's done, which can take a couple of hours, you've used up, basically
An
enough energy to
entire
run your
week's
house for
worth
2.5
of
years.
energy.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's
Lots of
hugely
energy.
wasteful, and it's just the dumbest thing ever. Um, but well, it's still really awful, and they're using there are some places that use different blockchains, which are not locked in to constantly having to have computers blazing away. But at the moment, still, it's a gamble. Okay, it's literally like just speculation upon speculation. It's not the smartest way to make money, but here we are living in a world where you can sell a GIF that you can then that everybody else can just copy and put on your desktop. It's some silly way to make money. Yes, you can make a portfolio with a password. You can lock your Twitter feed so that nobody can grab your stuff. Or you can, I believe, actually, I know ArtStation, it might be taking part of this. Behance, if you use Behance as a portfolio site, and I know a lot of people are like, I don't want to give Adobe all my stuff, but Behance doesn't let people do that. You can only take screenshots and stuff like that off of Behance. So you can't get full resolution files. You can't click on an image in Behance and open it up in a new tab and try and grab it. Yeah, they're not at the moment to not let artists sell NFT. Yeah, I know. They're waiting to see if they themselves can turn a little nickel on it. But it's just but at the moment it's not regulated, which means that it's literally all this money could gone in in a blink of an eye.
Yeah, the more people that believe in the hype, that will buy into the hype, and they want people to buy into the hype because that makes their hype more valuable.
The hype is what drives it. There's this really famous. My wife works in finance, and she basically says, there's this old joke that says, how the stock market went up 20% based on a rumor that it was going up 20%. And that's basically exactly how it works. It's just, it's all rumor, it's all speculation. It's like dropping all of your money into comic books back in the 90s. Yes, you can make money until it stops. It's just the silliest thing. It's like putting your kids' savings into Pogs, or into Pokemon cards. Yes, it's going to work great until it stops.
Until the day that it stops.
Until people realize this is dumb. I am selling my
Beanie Babies.
I'm using my money to buy a feeling, which means nothing.
That's like the story of the guy who invented the homies. Those like little things you used to be able to get out of
and friggin' Vons. I just knocked down everything in my room.
Everything.
I'll be right back.
Okay, you take care of that, and I'll take care of something. I also, I didn't mean to even mention NFTs, because once you say the three little letters, then you gotta go and talk about it. And so
just remember,
anyway,
NFT, forget that. There you
go. Forget that. Okay. So the other thing I was going to mention was that in the Discord server today, I opened up a new channel called Books. And in there is links to PDFs of books that you can access gratis for free. I will, yes, Elisa, it is a party. It is a good thing, Tiffany. So if you are someone like who I was when I was in college and I was taking Glenn Vilpoo's figure drawing class, and I was required to buy the manual, and I couldn't afford to buy the manual. So I asked a friend to make a copy of it, and I made a copy of it, and I'm sitting in Glenn Vilpoo's class, and he's looking over my shoulder at my copy of his actual book. And he's like, "You didn't buy that from the store, did you?" And I said, "No." And yeah, I made a copy of it. But I learned from his book, and guess what? I ended up using his manual for 10 years in my figure drawing class. And then I ended up buying probably about 100 of them. So, you know, it went to him eventually just because I didn't buy that one book. So, anyway, books are accessible in the books channel in the Discord server. If you have the funds to purchase a book, then you know you can do that. That's
Or
awesome.
you can
If
just
you
go
don't,
to Larissa and get glenvilpu.pdf. You can do
which
that.
is also in there, it is not my
The
because
original
I didn't.
NFT.
It's not mine, but it's in there. So there's Andrew Loomis's creative illustration in there. Stan Lee's How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way. I'm putting Will Terry's book in there, What They Don't Teach You in Art School. Only chapter 1 is in there for now, but that's going to be a place where you guys can access those resources. And please be careful with those resources because, you know, they're bootlegged and I don't want to get in trouble. But, you know, so be careful with them as you're reading them, use them for your own benefit and knowledge and you know, get better. And then when you become a successful artist later on in the day, you can, you know, pay it forward,
Agreed.
buy dozens
In
of
fact,
copies of the books.
if each of you have like a book, like imagine your apartment or your house were on fire and everything else is safe, everybody's okay, but like your bookshelf was like left behind because somebody forgot. Okay. Imagine you could grab like one or two books. That's it. Okay. Figure out which of those books you would take with you before everything collapses and put those into the books channel. That would be
Yeah.
really, really awesome to sort of figure out what you've. It could be anything. It could be reference. It doesn't matter. It could be like, you know, just a sketchbook of Robotech, you know, or you know, I love Ranma or something like that. It could be anything. Just what would you keep with you, and maybe explain why you love it so much. What you know, what it says about your style and your you know your story, your narrative, what you like about doing art. It could be James Gurney, or it could just be Calvin and Hobbes. Tell me what it is. I think that would be awesome.
Okay. All right. Well, cool. So that's all I wanted to say. Thank you so much. It was good to see you guys. Have a wonderful session. Caleb. Good to see you guys.
What are we doing now? We're we
class.
literally are doing nothing. This is like a horrible like casserole of all these weird conversations.
Don't get me started. I will go off on tangents. I'm going to leave now.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Goodbye.
Bye. All right, everybody. Yeah, Larissa added a book channel, and we just wasted like 10 minutes talking about NFTs. You're welcome. Okay, so last week, yeah, it is important to talk about. This is topical stuff. But anywho, you guys were rocking it in the homework folder. I was looking at your work. I'm really quite impressed with the fact that so many of you were willing to take some gambles and play around with the gridding system. It's kind of an acquired taste. Yeah, go ahead and do that too, Tiffany. I think that would be really helpful. Bootleg or not, you know, or just, you know, even if it is bootleg, just use that as an excuse to go see if you can find it in the local library, if it is open. Anywho, so yeah, gridding is really, really cool. We're going to talk a little bit more about that today, but first I'd like to try and do a couple of little drawovers. I did some for some of the folks that turned in their work. They're a little sketchy, so let me see if I can. With the grid, is it okay to have less than 5 in each line direction? It's okay, but try and, if it feels cluttered, yeah, use less. Like I said, it's an acquired taste. When you start seeing, you know, patterns emerge, when things start getting clumpy and hard to see, that's totally fine. Yeah, by all means, reduce it if it feels good. Anyway, let me swap over to my screen here so you guys can sort of see what I've been working on. Okay. So real quick review. All right. So last week we talked a little bit about gridding. All right. So basically, the idea behind grids is just to give your compositions a strategy. It doesn't. You don't have to use grids. I tend to use grids because I love having some sort of plan of attack, some sort of way of feeling like I'm in control of what's going to go on in my composition, my illustration, whatever it is. It can help keep the most complicated compositions relatively simple and clear. And simple is rarely easy. Um, and the whole idea is that you can use a grid in order to align what you want the viewer to look at, so that they can figure out what the story is about, what the narrative behind the image is about. We talked a little bit about the rule of thirds. Just using a 3x3 grid, like most photographers do. You can see it in any camera. If you've got an iPhone, it probably has that in there. 4x4s. And then we also talked about some alternative grids using like 70x30, diagonal grids, or orthogonal, and just using diagonals as well. I mean, or combining them using diagonals with the rule of thirds. And then we started talking about my favorite thing in the whole wide world, which is informal subdivision. And I gotta say, you guys really did a great job on this. So first off, let's have a look at some of the folks that turned in some of their work. Okay, so we've got Corlette. Corlette, are you with us today? Corlette Douglas? Doesn't, maybe not. That's a bummer. Okay, so that's totally fine. But you can sort of see where the grid, they've got this fantastic idea, the Muppet Master. And behind this this illustration, we've got this adorable little kid who's down here with the most beautiful little Elmo shirt that you've ever seen, fun pajamas, fun little monster booties. Now they used, it's a little irregular here. We only have like 3 verticals. We could probably use a couple more to sort of subdivide this a bit further, but that's not the important part. The important part is that a lot of what Corlette is doing here is getting dangerously close to the outer 2/3. So let me reduce the opacity on this so you guys can see what I'm talking about. I'm going to grab like an airbrush or something like that, just something really basic. There we go. Now remember what I talked about last time about using this to kind of focus the center of your artwork into the center 2/3 of your composition. Which means that if anything that's in this red area here should probably be a little more gestural than detail oriented. And this is what we would call, like, if you were going to actually do this as a poster, this is what we would call like the bleed area. This is something that you could that might be cut off in the trimming process. If it were a book or a poster or something like that, you might lose some detail if it's outside in this area here. Something that might get trimmed off. So what I did was like the fun critter's ears here on the lower on the right side. This adorable little critter over here on the left. These beautiful little fluffy monsters down here. So what I did was I went back in here and I sort of gave it a once over. Just try and see if I could show you how you could pull everything in a bit. and still make it. It doesn't need to look crowded or anything like that. There's still a lot of stuff going on. But now you can still have things outside, but it would be a little bit more gestural. It would be a little, it may not be have as much detail. And I love how they gave a certain amount of room up here for the title. Yet you don't want to crowd everything towards the outer third of your composition. You want to try and put everything back in, and don't worry about making it seem, busy. You can actually use the grid here, and there is a really great example right here that they've done to make things a little less chaotic, I guess. Yeah, a frame is actually a pretty good idea. I'm going to show you guys some more examples in a little bit, and hopefully that gives you guys an idea of what you can do in terms of your grids. Here's another one. Chrome. I can see you. All right, these are gorgeous. I love these really, really beautiful, fun, quick sketches. Very gestural, really powerful. Really good examples of how to use your subdivision. Now you use 3 different ones? No, you use 2 different ones. Oh no, wait! You used the same one. You just flipped it. I see it. You flipped it 2 different ways. Okay. Now I can see here that we have a similar problem, or that not a problem. I'm sorry. We have a couple similar situations toward that are similar to Corlettes, in which you get some of your detail a little close to the edge here, like for example, the knee on your kneeling character here, the hand on this one. So what I did was I tried to pull a couple of these things in a bit. And I also found a couple of ways that we could create a little bit more visual interest by establishing some places where various elements kind of break out. Like, for example, the hair here on number 1. We'll just call this number 1. Number 3. Now I feel like are these meant to be sort of like trees? It could be almost anything. You have some sort of framing element, but the element is, like I said before, awfully close to the edge of frame.
Yeah, they're trees.
Okay, no, that's great. Think about a way you can bring them in a little bit. There's one of the things that we can do in order to establish the illusion of depth in illustrations is to have a little bit more overlap. I love I love the themes behind these drawings too. You get the sense that this character, I like this heroine or this hero, has been just through heck. Quite possibly literally. There's a bit of Christian symbolism here. Some really cool stuff going on. And we've got what appears to be like, I always think of like zombies clawing away at something like this, mindless monsters. But try and bring your the focus, like immediately I want to look at that hand. Yeah, just having the best time. No, they're having a great time. They're just going through heck. Try and bring in some of these focal, or some of these framing elements, like the trees, like the hair, like the hands, or a bunch of screaming monster mouths or what have you. Try and bring them a little bit closer in. From the edge of the picture. Again, remember to try and isolate. Here, let me grab my airbrush one more time. Does this make sense, Chrome?
Perfect sense.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
It's not a mistake. It's something that I feel like we all do, and because we all want to paint in the corners, we all want to make sure our work looks cinematic and dynamic and cool. Yeah, well, to be honest with you, these are. But the thing is, you've got this beautiful sense of asymmetry. These are really dynamic. There's a lot of sense of empathy going on here. Have you started putting in great? But yeah, really good comment there, Annie. Annie, can you tell us, or Ani, sorry, can you tell us why number one is your fave?
I like the first one because, well, first off, it's kind of asymmetrical, like it's on one side, and then like her hair really stands out, and then like the way she's posed, it's like she's very powerful, but she's also, like trying to do something very important. And it's like if there was like a title at the top, it would like fit in there really nice.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yes.
So Caleb, what you're saying is when we're making our grids, we need to make sure that everything is in the center.
Well, no, it's just that you don't want detail close to the edge. You want to pull people's eyes away from the edge. You want to sort of create a rhythm. Let me see if I can demonstrate what I mean by this.
Yeah, sorry, I came in a little late. You guys were working on mine in the beginning, so sorry about that.
Oh, that's okay. So what I mean by that is, okay, the first thing that anybody looks at when they see a picture is they want to see themselves. They look for humanoid faces, and there have been lots and lots of studies on composition. What do people look for most at first? Is it contrast? Do they look for detail? No, they look for people. It's like looking for shapes in clouds. Okay, we are a pretty selfish species. So, but it's very true. But Chrome here has a really, really great example here. All three of these are very personified. Okay, they all have really, really beautiful, very sympathetic and empathetic characters in them. So immediately we're going to look for boom, boom, boom. We're going to look at those faces and the expressions that are on them. Okay, but once we focus on the face, where do our eyes go? Okay, and how do we help people find the detail in that face? How do we keep from hiding it? Okay, so what we can do is we can sort of like use shapes to sort of move the eye around a little bit. Okay, so we start here. Again, we move down here, or perhaps what we do is we follow her eyes. So we might want to have some sort of detail like in the hair here. Or perhaps one of the things that I suggested with this little thing is to use some breakaway shapes in this crowd.
I like making characters. That's fantastic.
Are you laughing because I'm hilarious? I'll just take that as a yes.
Yeah, I think it's a yes.
Okay, but the idea is to use the framework that you're putting up to sort of move the eye around. Now here's another thing. You could say, well, people will either look at the face or they'll be looking at this hand. It depends on what is going to be the highest contrast. Now you can see behind all of these, you've got this sick sort of like, it's like an S shape or a C shape behind all of these. And that's actually a really, really great way to establish your compositions, because now what you got is you got a rhythm. If it's even partially circular, what you can do is you can you create a composition where the eye rotates around the picture and never gets lost, or it starts deeper into the picture and gets pulled out, or it starts close to the picture plane and then gets pulled in. You've got tons of different ways to play around with the point of view of your audience. We'll play around with a little bit more of this in a bit, but does that make sense? A lot of really dynamic compositions tend to be kind of S-shaped, or they tend to be a little sort of fluid. And this is one really, really strong way that Chrome has made some really sort of impactful choices here. Really, this is a very good strategy. Now, the next thing that you could do, Chrome, is figure out what you're going to. Have you already started putting in? Oh, Chrome, I love your little heart. That looks great. Have you started putting in values to any of these?
No.
Okay, that's
I'm
great.
still figuring out which one to do.
No. There's a lot of different things you can do here. Remember, when you start putting, and this goes for all of us, don't get intimidated. Remember to, when you start putting in values, and sometimes putting in like a shadow around this can kind of help you get started. One of the things you want to do is start by putting in something that's, I don't know, pretty basic. You know, I love using just graphite sometimes. I tend to do this a lot in my traditional drawings. I'll just use graphite and just smear the whole picture or a whole paper with a flat gray. You know, a lot of people use toned paper for that exact same reason. I'm just going to assume that they've got dark hair. I'm just playing around with this. These are just suggestions. You don't have to actually do any of these. But I do like mucking around with these compositions, and they're so great. Really smartly done here. Oh, let's make this a little darker. Oops. Now, if you really want to muck up with people, what you can do is create something like, put like something like there's a big explosion of light behind her. Make it very sort of gaudy. That's the term, gaudish. Where they're like, oh. You have to make noises like that, otherwise you're doing it wrong. I'm just saying. Guys can practice if you want to. Oh. And then you can do what I do, which is the cheapest play in the book, and you can like hit things with some rim light.
And just so you know, Caleb, we are at 3:35.
Thank you.
We started a little late, so I know it
No,
doesn't even feel like we've been here that long.
My bad. I know this is what happens when you've got a great class. It's like it feels like it's playtime.
I know it's a lot different in the 6-hour classes where it's like, oh, it's too much time versus like not enough.
I know. Hey, anybody want to watch a movie?
Yeah.
Let's put on the fall. Let's get everybody nice and sad. Maybe there needs to be another thing that we want to make sure that we remember, and this is something that I forgot to mention with the last one that we just talked about, is for Corlette. Oh, by the way, I'm sorry. Is that not the word? Is that not the term you want me to use?
Huh? Yeah, no, yeah. Correlate's fine.
Okay, good.
Just thought you got confused from my Zoom name, so that's why you were asking. I wasn't. Sorry.
That's exactly why.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm on my I'm on my husband's Zoom account. So yeah.
Oh, I'm terribly sorry about that.
Yeah. No. It's okay. Today I can be a big Russian dude. So it's okay. It's okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I wish I could be a big Russian dude. Seriously. Had a bunch of friends of mine recently introduced me to lumberjack TikTok, and I'm just like, why can't I be like one of these dudes? I'm just
What do we like that?
Well, they're freaking gigantic, and they're so soft and sweet to to everybody. I'm just like, I'm this tiny little ice dwarf. Why do I have to? This is what my kids have to look forward to when they get older.
You should watch Lumberjack Sports. That was pretty interesting to watch. It was like, wow, people do this? Okay.
Yeah.
Chop wood for a sport.
No, I've seen that actually at fairs and things where people like literally just try to chop wood as fast as possible. I'm just like, huh, weird. But at the same time, they are into it. They love it. Anyway, long story short, Chrome, does this make sense to you?
Yes, and this is also very dope.
This is also very dope. Okay, cool. Well, here's the thing. Every single thing here is literally just like, it's white, it's light gray, it's dark gray, or it's black. Really, that's kind of all you need. Oh no, I'm so sorry. Ah, dang it. I don't have a soft mic. I just need to get my face into it. I apologize. Thank you, Jace. That's exactly how I feel. Okay. Anyway, these are all great. Remember to pull things. I don't have a soft mic. I have a hard mic. My mic is manly and strong, like a lumberjack. Sorry, Eden. Eden's like, why did I sign up for this? Okay. Anyway, so you can sort of see where I'm going with this. Pull things into the center 2/3, right? And if you can, use your values to focus where you want people to look. You've got a ton of different controls here that you can play around with. All right.
I loved this one. I'm so happy you chose it because I just love that little fat chipmunk guy. Whatever.
Fat chip. Okay, please help us out here. What is this dude? Because he is my spirit animal.
He's a chipmunk.
Thank you. I appreciate
He's
that.
not your spirit animal, Caleb. He's your fursona.
Oh God. Okay. Well, all right. That's even. Is that better or worse? I don't know. Anyway, Tiffany, you're doing great. Is it better or worse? Yes. All right. So here's what I did. You've got this beautiful down shot here. Elisa? Yes. Putting that down so I don't muck it up again. Give me 3 seconds. Thank you for your patience. Booyah. All right. Now you've got this beautiful down shot in your first composition, and I love it. However, I do feel that the position here is kind of, you're sacrificing a little bit of the fun drama and the opportunity you have to play around with with big, medium, and small. Now, you could probably even get bigger than what I put here, but I'm trying to stick to your the grid that you've put in. You don't have to, I mean, and like we said last week, you don't have to marry yourself to your grid. It's just there for a suggestion. But the idea here is that if we put this guy closer to little tummy, if we put this guy closer to camera, then it gives us a chance to sort of line the cat up a bit. Also, that is a giant freaking chipmunk, if that's how big the cat is. Maybe we should make the cat bigger, because you can do that if you want. Donna, Donna. I don't know. How do you feel about that, Lisa? Okay, back to where it was.
Well, the point of it is that the chipmunk is like front and center, but it is not the hero of the story.
Gotcha.
So the
Oh.
birds are important.
Oh, okay, okay. So it's more about the relationship between the cat and the chipmunk than the chipmunk itself.
Yeah, I kind of want to like switch things up, but essentially the
Okay.
chipmunk
All right.
thinks it is the
Well,
hero.
then that's what you need.
and it's
Then
not.
what you need to do here is create some sort of. Does the chipmunk know? Is the chipmunk sort of oblivious to the threat that they're in through your story? Okay. Then I want to kind of put like a butterfly or something up here, like, oh, look at that. What you can do then is we need to create. Who do you want us to see first, the cat or the chipmunk? You gotta pick one.
I think instinctually the chipmunk is front and center, and the cat is menacing in the background.
Okay.
So the cat was supposed to be much smaller and like below, and it was supposed to be more of a bird's eye view, but I don't know how to do that.
Well, you can totally do that. But let's see. Actually, we can. Yeah. Let me snap it back a little bit. Okay.
Like I think the tone is that all the birds can see the danger the chipmunk's in, but the chipmunk does not see that danger.
I gotcha. I gotcha. Okay, that's actually very clever. Like we are the birds going, oh my God, no, run. And meanwhile, over here, we've got the cat going, Donna, Donna. Actually, no, let's pull that back a little bit. For those of you who don't know, that's the Jaws theme. I'm being silly again. Personas are great, aren't offensive or anything to be ashamed of. I'm not ashamed of any persona ever, except for the one that was assigned to me by a student who was, I guess, trying to make me feel bad. According to her, my persona was a beluga whale. And I'm like, why would you do that to me? That's the worst. Elisa, who is this?
Foster Pup Strickler, he won't stop crying. He doesn't like Zoom.
Oh,
no.
They're so cute. Oh.
They need so many hugs.
Yes, this is called Demon Hour because he needs a lot of attention.
Demon.
I sometimes go into demon hour mode depending on the day.
Yeah. Eden is like the hours between like 8 a.m. and like midnight are demon hour. You're like, don't help me, Caleb. Don't demon hour shame me. Lol, true. I tried to make a noise like a chipmunk, and I'm failing. Okay, so we've got cat, we got chipmunk. I still want to put a butterfly in there. Sorry, just because it's like, oh, innocent. Oh no, chipmunk, turn around! You're gonna get moited. Is that a little better? Okay, all right, cool. Mainly all I did here was try to imagine a grid on the ground that our fat little chipmunk is standing on. And that our stocky little cat is stalking on. And here is tree branches that are really up close to us. We can assume maybe that this would be like either dark or super light. It would be a place where we could put a lot of contrast. But it's the idea is that it needs to be again gestural, so that we don't need a whole lot of detail in there. We can imply detail. We can make it fun and sketchy. Imagine like it's been sort of blurred a little bit because it's slightly out of focus. We got something a bit darker, got something a bit lighter. Like that. Anyway, play around with this a little bit. This is just a suggestion. Now, can you tell me a little bit about this guy? What's going on here? CT Songbird.
So initially it said like bird lives matter, but I was like, that's a bit much. So it's again from the bird's point of view, and the chipmunk has painted the street. But the birds are kind of like, all right, what'd that do?
Gotcha.
So they're looking on, and like the chipmunk is very proud of himself.
Oh, and it says like protect songbirds or something
Yeah.
like that. I gotcha. Okay. A little hard to deduct what's going on here. If I may, could I do one more quick little thing here?
Please do.
Okay, cool. Real fast. And then we've got like maybe one more, and then I'll start today's lecture. Okay. I love the idea of the birds in the forefront. Let me start over here real quick. Now I'm going to try and stick with the grid that you've got here. I'm mainly just going to kind of eyeball it a little bit. But you get the idea, hopefully. Okay. So what we're going to do now is, I'm going to draw this in red so you guys can see it a little bit better. We've got bird one. I'm not doing these birds very well. All right, let's use your birds. I'm going to do your birds.
Birds are very difficult to draw, in my opinion.
Right? What
and
are
airplanes.
birds? Sorry, that's a meme. Don't mean to. Okay, so let's put what they're standing on. How about this? Let's put them on like a power cord or something like that, or a telephone wire, power wire, something like that. Weird hollow bone dinosaurs. Am I right, guys? Yes. Eliza is 100% correct. And now we've got, oh, I know. I'll put him right here. Now we've got our fun little chipmunk who's strutting away. I'm going to give him a little line of action. He's got a paint can under one shoulder. Maybe he's got like the brush over his arm, like a rifle or something like that. You know, he's super proud of himself. And what we've got here is I'm going to use a Photoshop cheat. And I'm going to warp this a bit. Again, I'm going to try and keep it away from the edge. And the idea here is, again, just to sort of frame what the what's going on with what, you know, with the foreground and the background with your burbs. Now, these circles that are sort of lining the words in your picture here, Eliza, what are those?
I was thinking it was just going to be the crowd, like he's in a
okay.
parade, kind of. I don't know.
Of like animals or people?
Yeah, animals.
All right, cool. Well, let's do that. We got foxes. We got a snake. And again, we're using it as a framing device, just like you did here, but we're going to try and put it into a little bit more context, into the same perspective as everybody else. I love Eert too, Eden.
I love Eert.
I love Eert.
I love Eert.
I just love like all the little carnivorous guys down here are like, boo. And he's like, protect burbs. Burbs are people too. And these guys are up here and like, heck yeah, dude. Anyway, does that make sense? Yay! At least it gives me a thumbs up. I feel good. All right, last one. Oh, I forgot to hide this one. I'm sorry. All right.
It is 3:55, just so you know.
Thank you. This one will be a fast one because it's mostly already done. Ariel, are you with us today?
I am.
Yes. Okay, I love your composition. Talk about complicated. This is great. This is a incredible challenge. I love everything about it. There is one thing that I wish you could do, though. I feel like right now your eye is moved around quite a lot, but I do feel like it could be moved around more by varying And yes, very much. Thank you very much, Jace. It could be moved around more by varying the sizes of the heads by using a more, I guess, a more exaggerated big, medium, small.
Okay.
At the moment, you've got this really great flow. This is the way that our eye tends to work when we've got when we've got a crowd. Our eyes tend to go like more or less. They tend to sort of follow the flow of the characters, kind of like this. Now, what I suggested that we do here, except that, this little kid here kind of gets lost a bit. We might need some, I actually totally omitted them from my draw over here. So what I would probably do is, let me see. Let's see here. First off, I put the person in the foreground, like way in the foreground.
Mm-hmm.
But to be honest with you, that doesn't mean that they have to be the closest thing to us. The whole idea here is that it's meant to be kind of like this beautiful collage. So you can totally have smaller people in front of her.
I actually like this concept of merging all three of them together, but these are actually three separate concept ideas. But this is
cool.
My
God, I like that. Did not see that.
I should have drawn lines between them.
Okay, so it's more like like this, and then this, and then this.
Yeah.
Okay.
I agree. I think those last two look pretty cool, like meshed together, but I like the middle one by itself.
Well, the first one is definitely the most straightforward because we have two characters that are looking right at us for the most part. They're facing us. These two, I feel like because they are a little bit more dynamic, are a little stronger. Not to say this isn't the first one isn't bad or anything like that, but I feel like these two definitely move our eyes around in a more dynamic way. And if you ever decide to get like a wild hair and want to put all three of them together, now it actually would work.
Yeah.
And you may not have done this intentionally, but it actually, I'm not, and maybe it has something to do with the grid, maybe not. But the idea that you used a strategy to put your compositions together here, probably had something to do with the success of merging all of these compositions into one. Anyway, I love the concept here. I feel like these are all very strong. My fave is probably going to be that middle one.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite?
Yeah, the middle one that was the first one I drew, and that's my favorite so far.
Yeah, me too. Okay, stick with that one. I feel like if you use it that way, then the small, medium, large is actually taken care of.
Okay.
So yeah, you kind of nailed that one. Well done.
Thank you.
But that's pretty much the only one that was my only, I guess I misunderstood. I'm very sorry. But,
no, it's okay.
That was my only real takeaway from this is that you just take, if you're going to moosh a bunch of, if you're going to have like a mountain of heads or of people or something like that, then try to exaggerate the sizes, or at least the size relationships. And I feel like it'll actually look a lot more successful and engaging and interesting. Collages are really powerful. And I love the very Drew Struzan attempt that you're doing here, especially that middle one. I love it a lot. Great job.
Thank you so much.
That toddler is actually really great. Great job. Jace mentioned that. Drawing kids, juvenile proportions is very challenging. And I love the fact that they're like this beautiful little shapeless bag of flour. with their with their gorgeous little coat and toddler shoes and everything. So great.
Thank
Well
you.
done. Of course, of course. All right. It is now 4 o'clock. Let's move on to our lecture, and I'll start off by showing you guys the homework for this week. Whoops. Okay. So here's the flower child. Oh my God, Selena. Yes, yes, yes. I'm so happy. That makes me so happy. Thank you so much, Selena. Good one. My health bar I just got bonus life. All right. So the homework for this week is just to continue with this one assignment. Continue using informal subdivision. Continue working on your cover illustration or poster. Anything, again, it has to sort of summarize the subject and tone of your story. Continue refining your composition, adding color based on the values that you would like to use. All right. We'll talk a little bit about contrast and affinity today to help lead your eye around your composition, and try and get as close to finished as you can by this time next week, or by 10 p.m. Thursday night, if you're in America, that is. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about contrast and affinity, which are two terms that one of my colleagues at LCAD was using all the time, Luc Demarchelier. Here's a beautiful example using work that Luc himself created. Luc is a visual development artist. He worked on all the different Hotel Transylvania films. He worked on Spirit, the classic, Warner Brothers horse movie. And the whole idea behind contrast and affinity is that you want to use the lightest light and the darkest dark for whatever the star of your show is. Okay, so yeah, he left right before I know, it's tragic. He was a really, really great guy. He was a bit of a, he was very challenging. He was very French. So he was very, he was a little elitist, but he definitely was a very, very good teacher. And I loved making fun of his French accent, and he actually never really told me to get stuffed, which is pretty great. Anyway, one of the things behind this wonderful set of examples here is more or less it's exactly the same as what we talked about with the windmill principle. Okay, you're literally just putting wherever the focal plane is, whether it's in the foreground, in the middle ground, or in the background. It's all about where you want to put the highest amount of contrast. Everything else can be gestural. He is talented though, yes. Okay. But one of the things that I really want to talk about too is like how you balance out, how you create an asymmetrical composition. And one of the things I want to talk to you guys about is this subject called of rabattement, which is a French term. It's a French academic term that is literally means sort of like turning the hinge. Okay, so here we have this beautiful piece of work from Rembrandt. Okay, and you might notice that there's a big square here covering the left side of it. Okay, there's this great big red one. Okay, you might also notice that that square lines up almost perfectly with the side of this door in the corner on the wall. Not an accident. Now, here's another really fun thing. If you take that square and you line it up with the other edge, you get where the character is standing. That literally is what rabattement is all about. It means turning the hinge. It's a really, really classic way of another way of control of putting a very simple grid on your composition. Essentially, you just take the height rabattement. Here, I'll put it down for you. I'm going to put it on another thing here so we can see it. Where's the title? Here we go. Rabattement or rabattement. Thank you, Youssef. That makes me very happy. Basically, all you need to remember is that you take the height of the vertical of like one edge, you rotate it like so. Let's try this again. I meant to duplicate that. There we go. And then you rotate it again. Creating a square or something close to a square. And that's exactly how you come up with the placement in rabattement. It literally means like turning a hinge, like you're taking one side and you're hinging it. Okay, so that's that wonderful example by Rembrandt. This is Monet. This is a beautiful, another example of rabattement. Now this is just a one-sided one, but you can still see exactly where using, squaring this rectangle, where Monet decided to place this this elegant tree. Again, not by accident. It's a really good way of keeping a balanced composition at the same time it's asymmetrical. And now we talked about Rembrandt, blah blah blah. We talked about Monet, blah blah blah. Let's talk about some real artists, some real masterpieces. I'm talking Twilight, okay? All right, let's do the exact same thing. Woo! Yeah, I knew that would get you guys' attention. Oh my gosh, nerds. Anyway, let's see exactly how we can find rabattement here as well. A lot of classically trained cinematographers use rabattement in order to line up their subjects. And you can see it just lines up almost perfectly with the side of Edward's head there. He probably doesn't, oh my God, Edward's so fine. It's not like the rule of thirds. It's a little bit more complicated than that. Because to be honest with you, it's, if you can see here, we're not using a rule of thirds. We're just literally creating a square and a rectangle. If the rectangle were wider, then yes, it would be rule of thirds. This is a little bit closer to like, I don't know, 60-40, something like that. Yeah, this guy is totally the werewolf. Right. Or he's a witch. I can't remember which one that is. Okay, here is same character, Hermione, right? It's a little softer in terms of squaring the rectangle, but you get the idea here. It almost perfectly lines up with the edge of that wall that Luna Lovegood is hiding behind.
Caleb.
Yeah.
Am I understanding this right? So you take the length of the side and then you go over and then up again, and that's your cutoff?
Yeah, exactly. It's the height, really. It's the idea is that you're taking the you're taking the height and you're making a square, like so. You just make a perfect square. And it lines up almost exactly with where you want to drop the, this is Skyfall. It lines up almost perfectly with this, with the side of the deer, or the stag rather. Actually, that's a heart, not a stag.
So the height of your image, no matter the ratio, would this work for?
No matter the ratio. If you line up a square within your rectangle, wherever it is, then technically what it is rabattement. Okay, it's a very simple way of figuring out how to align the subject of your picture in an asymmetrical way, but at the same time it can remain balanced. Like here, it's balanced because we've got this, we've got the house off in the background, we've got the tree on the right here, but the star of the show is obviously, boom, our heart. And of course, if you actually are watching the moving picture, the only thing that's in motion is Bond's Aston Martin. Okay, but that's not the star of the show. The star of the show is this guy. So even though you might be kind of gesturally looking at the car going off into the background, what we're really focusing on is what's in the foreground and the midground. Exactly.
Gotcha.
And it works exactly the same vertically. Exactly.
Okay, yeah, perfect.
Yeah, it's guiding us. The road is taking us from the statue off to the house. You said it perfectly, Hernan. Okay, this is There Will Be Blood. Now, who or what is the focus of here, of the picture? Let's find out. We can create a rabattement from one side. Okay, well, we're definitely framed everything on the left side here. The little boy's not really lined up with anything. But if we do it to the other side, we can see that it's almost perfectly aligned with the side of Daniel Day-Lewis's head, and that Ciarán Hinds here is kind of lost in the middle. He would be the gestural part of this. Okay, obviously we're meant to look at these two here, and or perhaps since his eyes are looking over at his son, meant to be looking at the relationship between them. You totally can see a golden ratio. This is a very easy way of creating a golden ratio, or something approximating a golden ratio, since it'll never really be perfect unless the rectangle is perfect. Here's another. Nearly all the shots in classically trained cinematography adheres to some sort of rabattement, just off center. Okay, it normally has to be where the highest amount of contrast is. Now, these are all really fun cinematic examples. What about illustrative examples? All right, so, well, we already looked at a couple fine art, but let's look at some fun sketchy ones. All right, so this is the work of one of my favorite artists, Paul Felix, who actually, I believe Larissa took a class from him at one point. He is a viz dev artist who has worked for Warner Brothers. He's worked for Disney, as you can tell. This is from the film The Emperor's New Groove. And even if the picture itself has like a curve to it, because this is meant to be sort of like a panning shot where the camera starts like up here and then pans down this way. Oh, it's a great movie. It's really, really fun. But even though it's obviously meant to be a panning shot, you can still tell that there is Rabat Mall placed here with the that it's meant to be sort of just off center. Same thing with this one. Almost perfect. Not quite, but it doesn't need to be. Well, in this case, it almost is a perfect rectangle. But the idea here is that you can sort of see that the one side of the doorway here, or the arch, whatever it is almost a perfect square, and it's meant to lead our eye over to the left side. Of course, all the motion would do that too, but you kind of get the idea. Now, what I want you really to focus on here is look how much detail Paul Felix has put into the edges, or onto not to the edges, I'm sorry, to the sides of his artwork here. You can actually see the pencil strokes, okay? Whereas everything else is beautifully blended. It's literally, he's scribbling in there, okay? Same thing here on this one. The whole idea is that the closer you get to the edge, your values, your details, it's all right if they get lost. Kronk is your human. Yes, it is. You are absolutely 100% a Kronk, Eden. Now, this one's obviously meant to be more of a BizDev piece. You know, it's meant to sort of be an illustration just on itself. Doesn't line up perfectly, but it's awfully close with the side of that giant head there. The Incan inspired massive gold noggin. Yeah, Eartha Kitt, magnificent. And now I'm going to show you some of my faves here of Paul Felix's. This is a gorgeous piece that he did for Tarzan. You'll be my, yeah, man. I am so glad that somebody likes the Phil Collins masterwork of Tarzan's soundtrack. Somebody told Phil Collins, "You don't have to go so hard on this soundtrack." And did he listen? Oh no, no, he did not. It bangs. Yeah, it's a bop. It's a bop, is what that is. All right. Look at this. All right, so who's the star of the picture here? Anybody? What's the first thing you look at? What's the first thing you see? Kerchak, exactly. Silverback's butt. You do you, Lisa. Right, exactly. Kerchak, close enough. But that is, the Kerchak here is the star of the show. But then we look down at, and a lot of that has to do with the amount of contrast that is around Kerchak. Literally, the shape of the light around him forms a triangle that points straight down to Tarzan. Boom. And if you divide up the picture into Rabat-Mont, you can see that Kerchak's almost perfectly aligned with the side of one square, and that Tarzan is very, very close to the side of the other. And that's when you start realizing that Kerchak is actually pretty well rendered in this thing. He's got side light. He's got, he's beautifully contrasted against that light in the background. But then again, so is Tarzan, right? He's this beautiful sort of light against the dark, whereas Kerchak is dark against the light. But look at all the apes around them. Scribbly, right? Gestural. Look at the rocks. They're literally just quick little drawn circles. Yeah, it's a total zigzag. It's a triangle. It's like the whole composition has been divided with this beautiful, oops, slice right down right down the side here. Boom. Kerchak is meant to be the first thing we see. He's the star of the show. But then we realize that we're also meant to be looking at Tarzan. And then we see that the real star of the show, after examining this picture for just like a minute, is the fact that there's like a battle going on between the two of them. And that everybody else is just a bystander. That's why they're so sketchy and scribbly. Here's another gorgeous one. Again, from Tarzan.
We are at 422 if you want to.
I am so close. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much, Eden. I really appreciate it.
No problem. I know.
Last rabattement, I promise. Now, this is Nala, who is probably one of the best moms in Disney. Look at that. Okay, now, yes, it is very well aligned with the exact middle of the picture, but at the same time, you can still see that there's a lot going on outside. Inside, rather, those squares. And a lot of it is detailed, to be sure, but if you look at the background, a lot of it is mostly sort of suggested rather than completely, detailed and implied. If you want to look at more Paul Felix, yeah, everybody's got Disney mom disease. I don't even have a mom. She is a princess. That's a Wreck-It Ralph for you guys who haven't seen a Wreck-It Ralph. But there is, it is just absolutely so beautiful. Anyway, and this is all Rabattement is just another way of simplifying the fact that you can create a strategy when you're creating visual storytelling. It's just a way of leading the eye around where you want the audience to look. And in that way, sort of like having agency and control over what your story is about. Nala is obviously in a rush here. They're running across this narrow tree or massive vine in a way that they're obviously not even giving a second thought to the peril that they are in, because they've heard the cry of a baby, right? There's Annie, you actually hit on something that I've actually did. I practically did a thesis on that. That photographers and illustrators, photographers have to photograph the truth, whereas illustrators can create a bit of a fiction behind it, and thereby actually express more of the truth than the truth itself, because they can imply truth. Anyway, I'll stop talking. Here's our assignment once again. All I really want you guys to do is complete your visual storytelling assignment for your book cover / poster. This is the second week of the 2-week assignment, correct? So, because next week we begin comics, and oh man, it is going to be so much fun. We're going to spend at least the last 5 weeks just doing comics. It is going to be great. Get ready for pain. Oh yes, Eden is not lying. This is going to be where we stretch your massive art muscles that we've been building for the past 7 weeks. This is going to be the Spartan Iron Man of all art nerdiness. Prepare to turn your OCs into bro Cs, because they're going to get yoked. Sorry, Eden, that was awful. I apologize to my entire class. Anyway, so this is your assignment. The all the frames and pictures that I've shown you guys so far, they are already in Broses. There we go. They are already in the resources folder. So Eden's like, why is he still talking? But anyway, just continue working on this. If you have questions, if you have a whip that you want to share, drop it into the Discord. We want to see it. I will be happy to doodle over it. This is one of my favorite things to do in the whole world. Eden is about to roast me fearfully. Whip, yeah, no, do not do that. Yay, pain. No, what's a whip? A work in progress, Alicia. Alicia, watch your language. Gee whiz. Holy crap. Holy gee butts. Am I right? Yeah. Okay. Golly.
And
all
also,
right.
don't when you. Oh wait, never mind. I'm getting ahead of myself. I was already going to
No.
talk about
Do it.
comics, but we're not there yet.
Oh, well, we're not there yet. Eden, I'm going to want some advice and some point of view when in comics when we start chatting about this stuff.
Okay.
Is that cool?
Yeah, I like that. I like comics.
Comics they will break your heart, but you will become a better person for it. Right, Eden? Maybe, maybe not.
I think that happened to everybody who made comics.
Fair enough. All right. We are at 4:27. You guys are rocking this. Continue working on if you have stuff that you want to catch up on, totally great. That's totally fine. This is work at your own pace, but try and push yourself. Put aside time. Make time to create art for this class. Make it, but make it your own. Make it something that that entertains you, that makes you happy. Okay, and try and put aside, I don't know, an hour a night just to work a little bit, to play. Creative play is what this is all about. Okay, so try and create time to entertain yourself. Eden, Larissa, and I will be available for you whenever you need us. And just have a great weekend, and have a great rest of your week next week. And I will see you guys next Friday.
Yeah, nice job, everybody. And
yeah, well done.
Nice job, Caleb. Look at you ending 2 minutes early.
I know. I'm actually pretty pleased with myself. Keep taking those creative risks. Make some gambling decisions to try and see if things work. Play around. It'll always, even if you make horrible mistakes and fall flat on your face, you will learn from it. Believe me, this is the way that mastery is achieved. You are going to and thank you so much always for all of you being so active in the chat. It's really, really engaging, and it's very rewarding for both Eden and I. Thanks again. All right. I'll see you guys next week. Bye, everybody.